teams going into the semi-finals. I'm Youngsoo and I'm joined by Tom, Biz and Potter on the desk. This is a bit of a reunion for you two. You've done a few desks in the past.
Yeah, it was a different game that shall not be named. Obviously, no one's heard of it since, so we'll just pretend that it never happened and move on in Valorant.
That is how Tom lost all his hair. So we go back. We go back many and many years.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to grow back now as well. You know.
Oh yeah, I had to shave it after liquid one yesterday.
Unfortunate.
Worst day ever.
The amount of people that didn't get that joke was amazing. That Tom said he was going to shave his head if liquid won. But it's glad to see that.
I did.
Yeah,
man of my word.
Exactly. A lot of honor here on the desk today. Let's talk about the quarterfinals. Like I said, we've had two banging matches already that happened yesterday. Ascend versus Team Secret. Wasn't the best day for Team Secret, but a great showing for Ascend.
It was. And of course, we got to talk about CNED, right? When we think about Ascend, we automatically look at CNED, and he absolutely showed up yesterday. So many highlights. I mean, I think that was the thing about yesterday, right? Both series, there were so many moments where individuals just had those moments where it just makes you say, wow. So it was a fantastic day.
I think as well, you almost have to lean into the fact that this is the sort of performance we wanted to see from Ascend. Like, all the way through, it's been a lot shakier than we would have liked, even though they actually managed to come out top of their group. Out of all the EMEA teams, we were kind of like, oh, I don't know how much further they're going to be able to go, but that was convincing, especially versus a team who, again, in the beginning of the tournament, we weren't so sure how they were going to perform. The fact that Ascend have come through and gone, okay, we are clearly the better roster in this matchup, and now move on to a semi.
I love Bone Cold's average Jonas impression. You got to love that. You know, I saw Ryan Central say that he would not be surprised, Tom, if Ascend go on to win the whole tournament. What do you think about that?
I think they're building themselves in. I think that's the most important thing, because a lot of teams that show themselves early might get a little bit too confident, whereas Ascend had such a shaky start that I feel like they've gone, okay, we need to step up, we need to adapt a few things, and they've come back and they've looked a lot better.
Yeah, I don't know that they've convinced me to that extent, especially when a Fnatic and a Liquid have looked as good as they have. But certainly Ascend have made statements across, and you can see that game plan, it's coming through. I will say that I don't know that they've had quite as dominant of performance as we've seen of some of these teams as well. So I'm still looking for that. But yeah, Ascend, they're looking great.
Yeah, they're looking very good. You mentioned Liquid there, so let's talk about Team Liquid versus Cloud9. Hope you're feeling okay today, Potter. The last NA team
got a tiny violin?
Yeah, has been eliminated.
You know what? Usually I would have, but that map, this series yesterday, Liquid Cloud9 was so damn good that I'm not even salty about it, man. This series had a little bit of everything, right? The big brain outplays, the out aim, so much depth within the rounds. And I mean, the battles that went down, Yampi versus Leaf, time and time again, the jet battles coming across. This was an amazing series.
Well, I almost have a question for Potter, because I didn't actually see Cloud9 yesterday. I only saw Leaf. It seemed like the rest of the team actually didn't show up. The man has definitely made it a huge...
She's on Cloud9.
It was a huge name for himself individually, because that was sort of the joke that I was making yesterday. Is like it seems like they moved on from the Tens and friends, and now they're Leaf and friends, because he was so strong in the matches yesterday. I will, however, say that Scream also getting onto that stage. The stats he was pulling off, like I think it was like 224 ADR in that first map, like just ridiculous numbers, and the fact that he is showing up on the biggest stage, it's exciting.
Edge shots machine.
Yeah, we do talk about his one-taps. And speaking of those one-taps, we do have a bracket, a tournament bracket, updated tournament bracket for the quarterfinals. For the remaining matches of the quarterfinals, actually my one-tap segue was going to some stats, but I forgot we had to do this first. So just let that one sit for a second. Of course, Gambit versus X10, and then Fnatic versus Crew. I know a lot of people are definitely looking forward to that later matchup.
They are, and I think Gambit and Fnatic, they've got to be pretty careful today, because X10 and Crew are looking dangerous, and I think both of these squads, they've got nothing to lose, right? So coming into here, they're going to look pretty scary and intimidating. Obviously, those teams are absolutely ready for it, but man, it's spicy.
Yeah, I think both Crew and X10 have made a lot of fans this event, because I'll admit it, like I came in with them definitely not being teams coming out of the group. I think especially X10, like almost sort of messing about a little bit in the previous tournaments, not being able to play with their best player. If you told me they were top 8 over Envy, I would have been like, okay, yeah, cool, yeah, having a good day, are you? But no, they've really impressed this event, so if Gambit aren't on their game today, I think they could be in.
I do want to see the pick'ems of that one person that probably did have X10.
He used a randomizer. I don't believe there's anyone who actually predicted it this way. Otherwise, they are meant.
Yeah,
or they have like 40 accounts and they've just gone through and done it each
All
time.
the different
It's like
variations.
John, whenever he does, it's like I actually got the coin. It's like no, you didn't. But we don't believe you.
But yes, I was talking about the one taps, the headshot machine earlier, and we do have a graphic here for you guys. This is the top 5 headshot percentages so far. Champions, we don't really usually talk about
it's wrong.
this.
It must be a mistake. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
it's wrong.
I mean, yeah, again, we don't really usually talk about this, but yeah, he is not in the tournament anymore. Much like Masters
He's also
Berlin.
an off player as well.
He's still here.
It's
He's still
absurd.
here.
Jeez, those jet rifles. We always talk about the operator on the jets, but if you're just as good, if not better, with the rifle, I think it just makes that jet agent even more scary. So he was absolutely on one.
There's 3 liquid players on the screen.
That's not fair.
That's so
That's not
ridiculous.
fair.
I will say though, it kind of almost runs true with that ADR stat I was saying from before, because he wasn't just headshotting yesterday. He was doing a lot of damage outside of the kills, because I don't think he was top fragger. I think Leap was still at the top. But in terms of ADR, he was above by like 60 or something silly.
I know people aren't always the big fans of the Reyna. I know people like to criticize, like, the Reyna pick doesn't really work, it doesn't make sense. But Scream on the Reyna, surely we make an exception.
Scream can do what he wants. I'm not going to tell Scream how to play, because I think if I did, he would be infinitely worse, because he does what he feels right is in the server, and when you're one of the best players in the world, you're allowed to do that. If you're a guy playing matchmaking, not so much.
Not so much. And for Liquid, it's such a luxury to be able to have that. I think Reyna, it makes the composition a lot trickier, because Reyna doesn't provide the team aspect. But if you've got a player like Scream who's able to just disrupt any opponent that he's faced up against because he's on that Reyna, hey, that's a game plan that I think Liquid are absolutely going to stand behind.
Well, Scream, he got the job done yesterday, but we have a few players backstage that's waiting to get the job done today as well. We're going to step away for a moment here, but don't worry, we're going to be talking about Gambit versus X10 right after this.
Tunggu Discord di PC ku. Naikin volume.
Oh iya, PC gua ini.
Iya, volumenya naikin aja yang benar.
Nah, halo. Gimana? Expand, let's go. Gambit lo next time, guys. Udah, cuy. Gambit lo next time, cuy. Gambit lawan Extend, let's go. Save 9 dulu Takko. Iya, kalian save 9.
Saya siapin 9 kalian guys.
Takko dukung Gambit apa Extend? Gua dukung Extend. Tapi ya kita di sini buat nonton. Kita lihat tuh. Gue yang pasti bakal cheer up. Saya pensiun kalian guys. Nikmatin itunya guys, nikmatin gamenya, kita lihat game. Kita lihat game. Mbak Nana gimana? di sini ada yang dukung Gambit atau extend. Ayo coba. Kalian pendukung siapa? Ujungnya bikin pengen joget. Ini BGM dari streamnya bakal kena copyright ini.
Udah lah ya.
Oh, udah mau mulai.
Ikut shot.
Yoi. Kena kopi kanan.
There are 2 semi-finals spots left, and one of them is going to come down to Gambit and X10. Let's talk about Gambit first. They're the team that won the most recent international tournament, but so far here, Tom, they've dropped maps at places where nobody expected them to.
It's been a little shaky, hasn't it? It's not been the same Gambit that we saw previously. Like, I will admit, it seemed like last time they almost got into a playoff state, and then we were looking at them going, okay, now they're just kind of running through everybody. But that was also because they then knew they'd qualify for champions, which is not the case this time because we're at champions.
Are we, Tom? Thanks for reminding us.
Thank you for that clarification. Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's pretty apparent and clear. I know that the desk has touched on it a lot of the times in the past. Is hey, all eyes are on this Gambit squad, right? And so I think you're kind of seeing this reinvention, maybe a little bit of an identity crisis. We've seen some weird, odd wishes coming out of this Gambit squad, and the odd thing is for a player like Nats, he shines when he's able to use the clock to his advantage, snake his way through, find a weird angle that no one expects him to be, right? And there's that sort of conflict because if you look on the other side, Defo, he's in there, man. He's always at the top of that first kill, first duel contact. He's always looking for little skirmishes across the map, and that's all fine and dandy, but if he gets picked off on the other side of the map and Nats is trying to slow work the extremity on the other side, there's that weird wonky misbalance there.
Yeah, I think as well, like one of the things I wanted to highlight about Nats in particular is what we saw previously was the sort of what you were saying. He was able to lurk through and actually had pretty good opening duel stats, which was something that was really absurd for someone who's playing that Sentinel role. At the previous event, 37 to 32, pretty good opening duel stats for a Sentinel. He is 5 and 15. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that's actually the worst in the entire tournament, which considering how much impact he used to have on their attack and being that their attack has always been weaker, now that he's gone missing, they have started to rely on us, as you mentioned. Defo, currently one of the best players in the whole event.
I mean, how much of that do you think comes down to people, like I said, after Masters Berlin, everybody knows what Nats does. You have people in literally solo queue playing the way that Nats plays. How much of that is down to, Tom, the fact that people have figured out what Gambit do with him?
Well, I think there's 2 things. One, he's only been playing Viper so far this event, which has definitely been something a little bit weird, although I will highlight Chronicle a little bit later and how well he's been playing. But I also think a lot of the stuff he used to do on the attack was like picking up that poison orb to get an advance. You can't do that anymore. Or using his Cypher cages in ways that maybe people haven't done it before. Well, if he's not playing that agent, he can't really do that either.
Yeah, it is odd because, again, Nats isn't only being, all eyes aren't just on Nats because they won. All eyes are on Nats because he was the best damn Viper that we had in the entire world.
MVP?
He was showing us moves and setups and little traps that no other Viper ever even thought about. So that clever brain maybe is making him overthink some things, but for me, it's pretty simple. Gambit, they don't really have to reinvent the entire wheel, right? Their game plan was absolutely solid. I'd like to see them sticking to that, stick to their strengths, which is, again, utilizing that clock, run it down deep on the map.
Yeah, I think luckily for them, they do have ridiculous depth in roster, so that when someone like Nats is not doing all of those crazy things, you do have players that can take over the game. But they have had to come back from, like, what, 7 rounds in a row from a deficit that would have knocked them out or knocked them down. That is a scary prospect.
And the weird thing is majority of Gambit's matches have started like that. I believe they've started most of, if not all of their maps down 0 to 5, 0 to 4, and they've had to claw their way back into the half.
Well, many might be worried about Gambit's shakiness. Redgar still enters the quarterfinals with a lot of confidence.
Hello guys, it's Redgar and I'm the team captain of Gambit Esports. If you think that we can win, you will see. We already came back, we can do it twice or 3rd times, so just watch us. We don't know who we're gonna face, so right now we're the cheese kings, you know. We have a lot of holes and you can beat us. We gave you a lot of information, so come and beat us. Thank you everyone for that supporting. I swear you, we got this, we'll win this, so see you guys.
You gotta love Redgar. Every time I see him on screen, he just makes me smile. He's definitely the most wholesome pro player here.
Yeah,
but
they got a lot of holes. That's what he said.
Oh no! Oh no, Tom. But yeah, he's so wholesome, but you don't expect them to ever back down, right? They have so much confidence. They had the confidence, I think, all year because they know they've been able to do this. And Potter, even when it comes up against X10, you know, that confidence, it could be the thing that carries them over.
Yeah, and it should be, right? Because it's weird. Redgar is very wholesome, but in that server, he's not this nice, wholesome dude. He is absolutely deadly. And I think the impact frags that Redgar has been providing for this Gambit squad has kept them in it. Because as I said, they had to claw their way back into these kinds of series, and it's been Redgar in those mid rounds making those weird pushes that after they lose space, he reaggresses, catches one, and equalizes things for his squad. So definitely, he's been a shining light for the Gambit squad.
Yeah, well, they're going up against another underdog team at this time around. You know, they've dropped a couple of maps already against some of the teams they won expected to. And let's talk about X10 because you've mentioned this already, Tom. Not many people expected them to be here. Not in a disrespectful way, just their group was really tough.
I love this team. Like, genuinely, the fact that we went from Cruz basically saying that they need to work on aim, like communication, like all of that meme, and then come out in a lot of interviews just like, I think Pan went, yeah, we didn't expect you to be Vivo key, and now they're like in through to the playoffs, looking to face off against Gambit, and I genuinely don't know what to think anymore because they have overperformed to such a level, especially coming into the tournament, and they were running like Yoru comps, they were running a 4-controller comp at one point. Like, these guys were nut jobs, and now somehow they're in the playoffs.
Nut jobs, yes. And you know what? I think that that sort of unpredictability is absolutely going to go in X10's favor, right? I'm a huge fan of this team right now so far. The way that they're approaching these rounds, aggressive, 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 and they're all dedicated to the cause, right? So I like that style. It's been fun to watch. Can it go up against this huge stylistic difference in Gambit? Because Gambit is slow, right? They're going to always be ready for these funky pushes that X10 have been putting out to other teams. I think they're going to be absolutely ready. So it's going to come down to the maps. What maps are we going to see that's going to determine X10's game plan here?
It's going to be really entertaining, I feel like, no matter what, to see which one of these teams does decide to shake it up. In the past tournaments, we always talk about Patty. In this tournament, we're always talking about Patty. But I don't feel like it's just the Patty show anymore because Sushi Boys, Tom has been stepping up.
Yeah, that's I'm going to disagree because I honestly think that Sushi Boys has probably been the pinnacle player in this entire tournament. I believe we're actually going to show a little head-to-head potentially between him and Chronicle because that's one of the things that I've enjoyed so much in this tournament. These are currently the 2 top-rated Killjoys in the entire tournament. One of them, I don't think, played it up until this event in the form of Chronicle and has only played a couple of maps, although those maps he was off the charts in ACS. I think he was on like 300. So that's actually been brought down by other agents. And then Sushi Boys, he plays Jet sometimes, but frags better on a Killjoy. Like, it has been absurd how well he has played individually. And then matching that up with their sort of other initiator in Foxy, I think they've done so well to find information, get aggressive, get in their opponent's face, especially on the defensive side. And I think, sure, I do think it's a mismatch in terms of the way they play the game. Like, they're almost playing the way that Gambit want them to. But so many teams have expected it. Envy definitely expected them to do this, and it didn't matter. They still won.
Yeah, and oh man, Sushi Boys is just a really special player. I think it's very difficult to change a duelist into a sentinel role. Like that duelist mindset, man, they want to get in there. They want to fight. They don't want to back down, and they don't want to be selfless, right? Because when we think about a duelist, they're selfish, self-sufficient type of duelist agents. And for a Killjoy, Sushi Boys, he's got it all. It seems like he's selfish, selfless, and he gives everything up for his team.
Well, I've actually got some stats to back up your point, because you were saying, like, oh yeah, he still wants to play that aggressive role, he still wants to get those opening frags. Well, I think it was versus Envy. Him and Foxy were 22 and 7 in opening duels. Now, in the majority of maps, he was still playing Killjoy, and on Split, both of them together went 10 and 0. That is absurd when you're not playing an agent that helps you in any manner to do that role. That's just of his individual brilliance alone.
Also, their opponent as well. If you take that into context. Yeah, I think the only thing that Sushi Boys has a fault in is that I heard that he doesn't actually like sushi. So I'm a little bit disappointed.
Excuse me?
I don't know if that is a rumor that someone just spread, but I did read that the other day, and I was thinking, like, really?
Next you're going to tell me Foxy doesn't like foxes, and my whole world is going to just melt down.
Yeah, your name is not actually Tom, so
I'm not a Harry Potter fan at all.
Wait, I thought I was Ryan. Am I not Ryan Central?
I thought you were Paper Thin's body double, but you know.
I'm having an identity crisis here.
I've never seen you and Link or Sassy in the same room together, yeah, so
that's true.
We never know at this point. But while the odds may be stacked against X10, their player Cruz is pretty excited and feeling good going into this quarterfinals matchup.
Tidur nunggu mulai dulu gitu.
I'm from X10 Create Esports and I play the support role. We're excited and we're all glad that we made it.
Tidur, tadi bangunin lagi.
What we thought we could, and it just feels good. To be honest, it's just like a stepping stone for us. As you can see, we don't have like the really double duelist kind of squad, but we're just working on our teamwork, how we trade, and we make it hard for them to kill us one by one. I just want to say that let's have a good game because the Gambit guys are really nice to us, and I know there's no rivalry between us, but then I just want a good game and let's make it fun. I would like to thank all the fans, both from Southeast Asia and from NA. I hope it was a good game for you guys, although the outcome wasn't in the NA's region's favor. We're just here to play just like them, and I just hope you keep on supporting us as well so we can make the scene bigger. Thank you.
I don't want them to play against Gambit. I don't want either of them to have to lose. This is going to be the most wholesome matchup ever.
Gambit,
I don't think I've ever seen like two teams more likable right now. But Potter, I want to address something that he said in there, which I thought was really, really poignant. That they make their team, their opponents' lives hard by making sure that they don't get to kill them one by one.
Yeah, and you're just kind of throwing curveballs and disrupting whatever the game plan is on the other side, right? And that's what I love about this X10 squad is that they're fearless. They are fearless. I think one of their issues, though, is that it is a bit telegraphed, right? Because generally that sort of aggression, it comes as the barriers are going down. It's very much everything's going in, right? All that utility is going towards either mid, maybe an A main push, and it's very telegraphed. And the better S-tier teams, they react very well off that sort of immediate information. They just beeline it straight to the opposite side of the site. So I'm looking to see a little bit of a different flavor in that approach, but it still works.
Honestly, I don't trust either Stacks or Cruz anything they say anymore. Because Stacks, I feel like when we saw him on the first day where he was just basically playing mind games all the way through, and I feel like Cruz was the same, like, yeah, we need to work on all of this stuff, and then in reality it's like, we got you. we practice this all the time. Now he comes interview saying we had all of this prepared all along. It's like, I wouldn't have seen that coming.
It reminds me of Angel. Like anyone that knows Angel.
I don't trust Angel at all.
You do not
that man is a liar.
Anything Angel says. Like, he will play mind games, but the mind games works out sometimes, you know, depending on which team it is. But we are going to step away from here just for a few minutes, but there's going to be more Valorant chats and action right after this.
Lama anjing. Bangunin gue kalau udah mulai.
Jadi lu tidur dulu.
Bingung gue.
Lu bener mau tidur?
Aduh, nggak tahu. Tidur. Pantau gua.
Udah tiduran ini. Udah fix sih ketiduran.
masih bisa siapin makanan guys. Ngopi tak, gak ada kopi. Tunggu dulu, gue lepasin buat aku dulu deh. Gimana sih anaknya? Mulai. Ini gimana? Kalian kedengaran nggak?
Kedengaran.
Anjir, masih lama.
Welcome back to Champions, everyone. I absolutely love seeing all your tweets during the break. They always make us laugh. It's great. And I want to see them coming. Keep them coming. So, which is why I want to remind you guys at home of our annual Tapii hunt. Of course, these little guys, I think you guys are very familiar with them already. I know you guys love them. So whenever you see one of these on broadcast, take a selfie, take a picture with it, and tweet it at us using the hashtag Valorant Champions Hunt and Tapii Hunt. And we'll definitely feature those tweets on the broadcast. I haven't seen you tweet one in yet, Tom. I'm not sure why that is. Have you just been missing them?
What's that about, Tom?
Well, surely, maybe I'm just not very good at the game, all right, Sue? Like, it's hard. Sometimes I like blink and then it's already come out. I see people tweeting it. Like, it's not as easy.
You're always behind. You're always behind.
Just I'm not good at games. I always get bullied.
Yeah, I mean, I did absolutely ruin you in the custom by just holding flank. That's how you beat Tom in Valorant, guys. He doesn't check corners.
I'm like the X10 of Valorant. I'm super aggressive on defensive side, and sometimes you get punished.
You do sometimes.
All the time you get punished.
He does not check any corners. You're the only person I know that plays the Sky, but you don't use any of your utilities to check corners.
Oh no!
To be fair, I think
just getting roasted.
I think you were holding the flank with like 10 seconds left on the spike.
I was. Yeah.
Just gonna hide it
with my Odin and my turret.
Securing the round, man.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm pretty sure the other members of my team could have defused, and Sue would have still been like, I'm gonna kill Tom.
That's all that matters.
Well, I want to get some final thoughts from you guys, regarding Gambit versus X10. How much of an underdog do we really feel like X10 is? Are the odds really stacked against them today?
I think so. Just on paper, yes. If you watched X10 this entire week and the rounds that they were able to rally together as a squad, then they're not so much an underdog anymore. But on paper, with the way that both teams are made up, the composition, yeah, I think Gambit is absolutely should be winning this one.
Yeah, I think it's stylistically in Gambit's favor just because of how aggressively X10 like to play. But I also think the other side of it is just, I don't know if they're going to be able to compete just man for man.
Well, thank you very much. Guys, let's kick off our final final matches here at Champions Berlin.
Do you remember your first time seeing the impossible? When the first masters emerged, they were challenged to evolve, challenged to create masterpieces, that would inspire millions. A mix of personal style and pure skill that redefined the game.
What is this?
This is where the best players from around the world will clash, and champions will be born, dreaming of greatness. Now we will all bear witness to split-second sparks that change the course of esports history. And inspire future generations to find their own flash of brilliance. This is where we live. This is the art of greatness.
It's done with! Crew against all odds! Send Sentinels home!
Yo creo que Latam tenía que dar este paso que dimos nosotros contra NEA.
Now history is theirs in the making.
Que el próximo equipo que se nos enfrente, que esté preparado porque nosotros ahora vamos con todas.
What a moment for Crew.
Gambit, scary. The pressure is 10 times more than it was at Masters.
I know that every team would like to knock us out from this tourney, but there is no pressure about that. We're all confident in our power. We have to show that we are the best team.
Most fans think EU is going to win the tournament.
แต่ก็ทีนี้พวกเราก็ชนะแกมบิดมาในซ้อมได้ครับก็ทำให้พวกเรามั่นใจว่าแข่งรอบนี้เราจะสามารถสู้ได้ครับ
You'll see what we come up with next.
We're always training all the time. We're training for that. We're ready for that. We're prepared.
พวกคุณหัวเราะในวันที่พวกผมเอาหาก็อย่ามาเสียน้ำตาในวันที่พวกผมเอาจริงนะครับ
Durka's going to keep creeping behind them.
Oh, he's herding them forward, flying stacks, gets the follow-up.
No way,
Durka, the adjustment is unbelievable.
I think we were in control most of the series, ensuring that we make it the least amount of mistakes as possible.
We are here as underdogs, but we know how we perform in scrims. I'm pretty confident that we are capable of winning world champions.
The crew that Fnatic went up against is not the same crew that they're going to get this time.
Los equipos que subestiman a Crew nos hacen más fuerte a nosotros porque llegan con una confianza extra que eso no significa nada para nosotros. Entonces, si es que quieren llegar con confianza así, mejor para nosotros, nosotros nos aprovechamos de eso.
It's going to be easier for us to win if you keep on underestimating us, so help yourself.
ทุกอย่างเป็นไปตามที่เราคิดไว้ทำให้ทุกทีมไม่สนใจเราแล้วเราก็ค่อยคว้าแชมป์ครับ
Dentro de todo, yo diría bien, pero no al 100% aún.
Que todavía podemos dar más sorpresas, así que estén preparados.
I want to show the greatest Valorant I can.
You might get the timing on this just right.
Good luck.
Put us all together, we make Fnatic, and we're coming here to smash some noobs.
What a way to end that hype trailer. You know, you're smashing some noobs. Why not?
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about the pressure we've spoken about. You know, Gambit winning the last international tournament. They said this multiple times in interviews. That doesn't really matter. They're not really kind of defending champions in their eyes. They also see themselves as challengers, and they proved themselves to be the best already, Potter, but they have to prove that again here.
Yeah, and you know, maybe that is the mentality that you want to have, right? Because they always say it's not the journey of getting there, right? It's staying up there, it's staying at the top, being number one when all eyes are on you, and just maintaining that consistent form. So maybe if Gambit changed that sort of mindset and have that different perspective, that'll help them.
Oh, I'm excited. I've just seen the maps come up. It makes me happy every single time that we get to go into the map select. And especially with these two teams, I feel like at least on the bans, Potter, I feel like that stage of this is going to be fairly obvious.
Yeah, it should be pretty straightforward, but I mean, maybe X10 throw in a weird curveball, but they have been consistently banning out that bind.
Yeah,
but especially the thing that I was going to say is, especially when it's not looked great for Gambit, I would have actually quite liked to see them float it, because I don't think Gambit are going to pick it first time around.
no, they wouldn't. But, you know, from the side of Gambit as well, they don't play Haven unless it's a best of 5.
And they have to play it.
Yeah, and in this tournament, they can ban it again in a best of 5 as well. So we might never see Redgar on the Reyna ever again, which is a bit of a sad thought. But it'd be interesting to see, okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming, because especially I don't think X10 have ever played this map. So that is definitely a bit of a curveball. It's something that we have seen a little bit from Gambit, but in tournaments, I don't think we're really going to want to talk about too much. So realistically, this is going to be a brand new playing field for both teams.
Yeah, brand new. And again, this is one of those weird curveballs that a team like X10 can absolutely be in the position to throw, right? I mean, again, a little bit less pressure on these guys. And you know what? I like it. They're testing the waters and they're saying, this is a brand new map. Nobody has the meta down on this map yet. Let's do it a 50-50.
I think coming through for the pick, I would expect, well, I was going to say I'd expect the Breeze, but I guess even though we haven't seen Ascent in this tournament from Gambit, it's one that historically has been an incredibly good map for them, and they've already been able to see what X10 do on this map. So the fact that this comes up as a second choice isn't overly surprising. But I do feel like X10 showed some good things on that map.
They did. It was versus Envy just recently, a couple days ago. And yeah, the second half was a bit of a blowout, and that sometimes happens after you lose the pistol and the bonus. But that first half, guys, that first half was so close. A couple of different kills, and all of a sudden, that map is entirely different.
Yeah, moving forward, I thought also the pick was going to be Icebox coming out from X10 as well. So the fact that they've actually gone in for a Fracture now means that this leaves the likelihood of the ban coming through on the other side. So I am starting to worry a little bit looking at this map pool that it's going to end up incredibly good for the side of Gambit, because I was expecting them to pick Breeze. Now they're going to get it as a third map and then have Ascent as their second. I don't know if I see X10 taking this.
Yeah, you know, that's such a good point. Hopefully X10's Fracture is like god tier, better than Fnatic's, because as you say, Icebox and Bind, these two maps absolutely had a lot of holes in Gambit's plan. So, I mean, for X10, again, I like the curveball. They don't have a blueprint. What are they going to bust out on this Fracture that's just going to be so much better than Gambit's?
But that's the other thing. I feel like there's no way that Gambit, especially the composition they were running previously, it was a little bit weird, had a Brimstone in it. So I don't even know how much you've then learned off Gambit to actually try and counter them and come up with a few ideas. So it's a very big risk for X10. What I will say, we've gone into every single matchup not expecting them to be able to win it. So why would we doubt them now?
I mean, same with the other teams, right? We've doubted, a lot of people doubted Crew. A lot of people doubted Secret as well, but we're going to take a quick break here, but stick with us because Agent Select is on the way.
Time slows down when it can get no worse. Wishing there was something left to lose. This could be the day I die for you. Man better be careful of me. Watch your whole team get smashed to pieces.
Welcome back, everyone. The map vetoes are in and the players will be taking the stage shortly, but I do want to quickly address a little bit about that fracture because more often than not in these underdog matchups, we talk about how they need to come out strong and they need to take their map pick. So fracture, Potter, if X10 aren't able to take it, will you be concerned about the rest of their series?
Absolutely, absolutely concerned. I'm most curious what these compositions are going to look like, right? I think fracture, there's just so many interesting topics and discussions you can bring up about the map. Can Killjoy still be relevant? That ultimate certainly doesn't look like it can be a lot of the times with the breach counter. So there's so many different looks and different approaches that these teams are bringing to the table. You mentioned Brimmy, Tom. I'm actually low-key hoping that they bust out Brimmy again.
Yeah.
He just brings such a different flavor. Right now we're seeing such drawn-out execs because those smokes, the wall from the Viper, it takes forever, right? Brim, bust out the iPad, it's down instantly, right? So it's just a different flavor. I hope we can see Brimstone. I'd like to see how they approach it with someone like that.
His orbital strike would be pretty scary as well, considering how compact some of the sites are. Like, it's possible that maybe this is a Brimmy map and we just don't know what's going to happen, but realistically, I think Breach is highly likely. We've seen so many teams playing it so far. I've also enjoyed watching some Viper. I think the Pit, especially because you've got so many avenues of attack, to be able to just lock one out completely can definitely help you quite a lot. So I'm excited to see what we're going to get from the compositions, but realistically, they could throw anything in and I'd probably go, ooh, cool, let's see what that can do. Except Yoru, maybe new Yoru.
I'm down for Yoru, I'm down for Yoru. Well, thank you very much, guys. A semi-final spot is up for grabs here. Let's welcome X10 and Gambit to the stage.
Tak, bayarnya tak. Angin tak. Oh. Masih nampung ya, Kak? Apa ketiduran? Bentar. Duh.
Well, both teams are fighting for a semi-final spot here. Will the fairy tale continue for X10, or will the big bad walls of Gambit come and give them a rude awakening? I don't think I have never described Gambit as big and bad, but they kind of are, Tom, in this matchup.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like at times Nats is a stone cold killer, like man with no emotions coming to ruin the day. But no, honestly, I feel like this matchup is one where it's very difficult not to like both of these teams unless you are a fan of the teams they're eliminating along the way, because that's all it's really been. Like, most of the fans of other rosters would have expected X10 to be long gone and their team to be in the playoffs, and for Gambit, they're the team everyone has to beat. So you almost have to try and make them a bad guy at this point because they are the champions of the last Masters.
Yeah, and as we mentioned for Gambit, these guys just have to come out swinging, have that consistent form, and have a good start for themselves. Because look, you give these X10 guys an inch, they're absolutely going to take a mile, especially Sushi Boys and Patafan. They've been fantastic in that server so far. I'm a little bit surprised to see Patafan's entrance be a little bit less energetic than what I'm used to seeing. But
yeah, he did say that he wanted his hair to be the energetic element. He didn't want to give it too much.
Not jealous at all.
You can dye your head. There's no rules against painting your head.
I'm gonna tat it. I'll just make it pink.
I mean, if Liquid wins the tournament, you can do that, right? Isn't that what you said you were gonna do?
Thank you.
Actually, I do want to talk about N real quick on your screen here, because I feel like he is so underrated when it comes to the top coaches. He doesn't really get spoken about enough, but in this game, if they want to kind of shut down any of those aggressions from X10 Tom, N would have done a copious amount of homework here.
That's the thing, though. This is the sort of map that I feel like he'll have done homework in general, but you can't have done homework on this team. You couldn't do homework going into this event on this team at all, let alone on Fracture. They've literally never played it.
And he'll find a way.
The other way around. He's just been watching them. He's flown all the way out there, and he's just watching them through them. Guys, they're playing Fracture. I've got a good vision on this one. Like, yeah, maybe if he is that good a coach, then yeah, they should keep him until the end of time. Thankfully, we can transition nicely into Agent Select.
We are going to the Prime Game Agent Select. Keep your eyes peeled for Brimmy on Chronicle, and also just the entire team of X10, because Foxy has locked in a KO on Fracture Potter.
I love KO on Fracture. I love the pop flash.
We got Brim.
We got Brimmy, we got KO, we got Breach. We've even got a Sage. Sage is pretty unorthodox so far on Fracture as well.
Yeah, these are definitely some very interesting comps. Even just talking about KO in general, like Foxy is not normally the one on this team that plays it. They've had to do it because Cruz is now on Breach, so it's clearly something that they've tried and tested even on other players. And yeah, I like the fact that we're getting a raise from Defo, because that was one of the things when watching Fnatic especially, where you saw how deadly that agent can be. I will say it was in combination with Astra though, so I want to see how they're going to combo it with a Brimmy.
That's going to be so interesting. I'm glad we brought up the Brimmy and they've actually busted it out. I mean, when we watched Fnatic do their little B split with that tower heaven, that was all kind of timing with each other and spacing. With the Brimmy in play, you don't really have to focus so much on that. His orbital strike is going to take care of half of that site, and the rest of the Gambit members can keep their crosshairs on the others, right? So this is very interesting. I'm excited to see how they're actually able to put it into play and execute.
I love this raise change. I think this raise change is going to make a big difference. But before we hop into the game, I want to hear some predictions from you guys. Anyone is willing to go against Gambit here? Anyone?
No.
Nats.
Okay, can we just watch Panda Cam? I don't want to watch anything
I believe her name is
so nervous.
I believe her name is Adela. I did ask Nats about this. Yeah, I think that's Adela on screen. But yes, Gambit all the way, or are we going to have something different here?
I think it has to be this map for X10. I just don't think it's going to happen.
No, the series.
Yeah, I know. That's but like this map, they have to win even to have a chance.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think they're going to win.
So you think Gambit 2-0?
2-0.
Ooh.
I'm going to say Gambit 2-0 as well, but look, we said that this map pool doesn't favor X10, but at the same token, Breeze and Fracture, they're kind of an unknown quantity. They are large maps. An aggressive team like X10 can absolutely step on Gambit here if they allow them. So there's a weird curveball opportunity here. I'm going to stick with Gambit though, 2-0.
Oh, okay, I'm going to say 2-1, but I'm not going to tell you guys who, because we don't have enough time.
X10, obviously.
Let's throw this over to Pansy and Hypo to get us into Fracture.
With absolute honor, and hey, we've seen so many upsets already this tournament. I think it's a safe shout to go for Gambit. I think that's a very reasonable choice. But even stylistically, this matchup, I think Potter kind of lent in towards it. There is a world in which it can happen. And if it starts to, I'm all aboard it. But what do you make of this comp coming out? We've got, you know, Fracture coming in. There's a lot to be discussed.
I mean, I love seeing Viper on Fracture, so it's interesting we see neither on either side, but it's the Brim that's the sticking point for me. Again, it's how much that's going to enable some of the sight control, especially on the attack. But just one word from Potter, curveball. And I feel like that's what X10 are going to lean heavily on. We're looking for this defensive aggression again with a double flash, including the KO. I'm expecting something a little bit fruity out of X10.
And if I hadn't seen their victory over Envy, maybe you could have had to have worked harder to convince me of the chances, but I've seen it with my own eyes, and I think it made a believer of a lot of us. So we dive into this. Let's not waste any time, as we do have Gambit starting things out on the attacking side, and actually it's Nats to draw first blood as well.
Spike down, B.
A little bit of a push through actually here. Patty and Cruz trying to double down on this aggression. Defo just holding back. Nats actually want to pick it up, and Chronicle with a pinch from the other side here. Sushi Boys try and find something on the backside, but him and Scary left to try and recover this pistol round.
Oh, and a clean start is perfect. That's what the doctor ordered. A little lineup here could be nice. Let's have a look to see if that does find where they need.
Spike play.
For now, the smokes go in. So once again, more being presented in front of X10 to try and make this even trickier. The three in the post plant comfortable. Heal gets invested as well.
Aku bangun dah.
Now the two are trying to find the optimal timing. Maybe wait for that smoke to fade. And here's that pixel shot. Lovely shot from Defo. It looks like the follow-up probably going to work out quite well. The crossfires have not been dismantled, have not been dismembered. And it will be scary to have to face the music.
Aku tidur ya.
Even getting it done. Nope, Sadov's going to deal with it. And comfortable. Again, no real surprises of, again, a couple of early kills coming through, but Gambit find themselves an opportunity.
Aisyo, punten pop.
Again, I'm looking for lots of variation here on the side of X10, and particularly in the use of KO. Obviously there we did see a little push out from B main. Pressure on both sides of the map as well. See that, Fox? Try and get something done elsewhere. And again, I think the important thing that a map here, we talk about curveballs, this is kind of uncharted territory, right? For Gambit to an extent. I don't want to talk about the Red Bull performances. I know we already talked about that, but on the side of X10 also, excited to see what they can do to kind of lean on, I guess, the previous momentum, right? They're
Mimir tuh apa sih? Nani.
Considering the games that they struggled in against Vikings, where they dropped a couple of bits and pieces, oh, that's not good. Actually, Chronicle's been found. They had some really rough games in a three-play stack
ada track rugi.
Redgar's got his back. You can hear the Bulldog just growling behind, as now there's still four standing against the two. Now, Patty does still have a little bit of damage in this, but they're already considering. You can see Defo just slipped across. Should be okay. Good trade for Patty. Any more would be great. That's when I start really paying attention. Chipped away a little bit more than they'd have wanted. 55 HP. And there's a very
Mimir tuh oh alah iya nih sepertinya.
Not sure if Nat's even caught a glimpse there of Patty.
Salah maksudnya hari ini pikir oh semangat show. Ikut
Not sure if they're just waiting on this heal to make absolutely sure. Again, on damage control almost. Leaving Patty guessing.
Tak bangun tak.
Just staring down. That's doing what he does
best.
Lu
bangun nggak sih tak tak? Kalau bangun jawab dong.
Early ultimate progress there, but two shields will need purchasing again. So in terms of damage, again, extra kill would have been nice, but a bit more of a purchase here at bonus. And again, this is the round you look towards X10. I'm looking here, it's leaning one way, but whether or not they continue with this early round pace.
Dan tidur ya.
A little bit of an adjustment actually. Got Sushi Boy.
Beneran tidur.
You can see lots of utility invested on both sides here. And look at this four-man push, Lauren.
And look at those looking skins as well. All right for them, ready to go. Look at the damage coming back on through though. It's clean if you're an X10 fan. You're looking for that to be the case. And
padahal mau nonton dia, cuma nemenin doang aku.
Tidur dia. At least at bare minimum a plant. I feel here. Actually, no. The spike's going to struggle to cross. And that's going to be denied. Chronicle still standing. What is that? Chronicle. Easy now. Oh, he's read it well. He's read it so well. Chronicle was already looking towards tower. And Foxy has no idea. Oh, Chronicle might just do the unthinkable. He's predicted this so well. The man is in just complete, full-on brain power mode. He's reading everything, but now the timing's a factor, but he's got a lot to play with here. Hasn't recovered a gun yet. There's plenty down, but maybe feeling that taking this space was more essential. He's cleared, and now this is when that internal clock's going to tick and going, okay, maybe on the flank, maybe I need to look back towards tower, back towards this way. And he gets the rifle as well.
This is the thing now. Cantini generator pretty much. Sushi Boy's got good timing on this though.
Rifle out, there it is, Sushi Boy. Just about taming what could have been a nightmare scenario for X10.
And this is the problem, honestly, a round like that, it starts fantastically for X10, but it's so difficult for that to be your win condition in some of these rounds, to continue this level of aggression and this kind of eagerness to find this first blood. Again, kind of stop things before Gambit can get set up accordingly. Again, X10 win that round, but it cost them an awful lot. Patty already on the Blade Storm though, and that's huge in this round.
Yeah, it should help even things out. And again, we saw this before, almost worked out last time we saw that little jump up and over. Didn't quite find the frag that they were desiring, but for now, look towards Gambit, making the moves up. Turret gonna at least notify those around that corner. There is a few here, but you're right. There's already 3 on the lean, and Patty just gives it the drive-by. Great work from him for the good start, and the trade-up is brilliant. I thought Defo was going to have that. I thought that was on the plate, but no. So already a 5-play up against 3.
I've got to be careful here. Again, no teammates towards Dish or his close proximity at least. Now still trying to find something towards Tower. He might actually get decent timing, but Cruz. Let's see, we'll find that one. Chronicle now to potentially pinch through here. Sushi Boys finds it, and fantastic round by X10 with the investment here. Patty can try and find it. And again, this is the problem here. These sorts of rounds, I think if it goes to a brawl, a bit of a scrap on these site entrances, that's when X10 can cause some real problems for Gambit.
And I'm going to say it now, I can hear them behind me. Already, that round, they are pumped up. That is a really good look from them coming into this, a flawless Prime Gaming round here. And what a way to assert dominance. Right back in after a very sketchy round, almost losing out to a Sheriff. That's one way to get your mental right back where it needs to be. That is really, really critical to these guys. Give them that confidence, keep them building, especially for an underdog. You look at it on paper, it's a lot of that affirmation, knowing that, hey, yes, we can go toe-to-toe. We've already taken down another heavy top-tier team. We can keep doing this time and time again. It's just 2-2, but they have humbled the money from Gambit. You're seeing a bit of a Shiko with a touch more in that Spectre on Chronicle, but otherwise, that's about it.
See what the plan is here. Not greeted with anybody on the side of X10 towards Hall or Door. They'll drift back over Nats. Again, no real information towards the setup on B at least, but as we can see on the minimap, it's 3 players stacked. Actually, 2 walking underpass here. X10 a double walk in this.
They're getting a little weird with it, but the problem is these these Sheriffs are still so dangerous. Maybe this isn't the round to be doing it. That's a rifle to be had, and it does look like it's going to fall into the hands of Nats for now. Tries to tap away to get Foxy, but he's not going to be able to find the connection just yet. But as this death stack, that's a big tick in the box. They're going to walk away with the rifle, but do they predict the players already watching this fullback? Cruz is right there. You can see he's ready for this one, and now Cruz going to try and set this up. He wants to get it done. Lovely control! He is so poised for that. Didn't overextend, falls away, 30 HP. Anything more is ideal, but Patty's got his back. The swing from Tower puts him down to 2, and all the threats that Gambit were looking to try and find have been somewhat quelled, but not completely. Redgar still has that rifle, and Shadow still on that Spectre. There's still potential for this.
Cruz is going to find another one. Shadow's actually finds a headshot. Patty.
Time.
Nice little swing out there, and a crucial round, I've got to say. That huge. That swing back from that aggression through underpass to set up accordingly on site and pick up a couple of key angles made it so difficult. That fault line completely shuts this down here from Cruz.
And I love the control on that. Not just the wild spray, keeps composure. Again, this is really nice to look at. It just shows that they are really in the right mentality. They're not playing like they're underdogs at all. It's not just cheese. It's not just these looking for like kind of like squirrely ways to do it, it looks just like really good Valorant.
Like I said, the bigger positive is seeing X10 adjust. After, if they do lose somebody in this early aggression, it's that kind of mid-round adaptation where they can then set up, greet and execute from Gambit. Oh, I thought again we're getting aggressive outside B main here.
Start. Oh, and
straight
Patty,
away.
the backhand is swift, and Defo is going to be reeling from that. Redguard took a little bit of flak damage too. The rest comes out, but Cruz is right there. Shados is the one to tilt it back at least. Oh, I thought that was on the money.
Defo's lucky.
Very lucky boy. And Nats, does he have any bit of that luck up his sleeve? Because he's about to have a lot of players coming his way. He only gets a 1-for-1, so let's look at what we have here. It's still going on. What a bloody battle between these two. It's unrelenting aggression. Scary needs to be on point, though. Keep his composure as best he can. As Chronicle now is going to try and join Defo. 29 HP and a dream for Scary. Ults across the board.
This is a really dirty angle to hold
It's
as well.
filthy. It's absolutely filthy, and I love what he's up to. The wall goes down, and now the 1v2. He's going to try and find one. He gets it, but the second evades, and Chronicle brings life back to Gambit here.
Again, the choice to go for the gravity well there, I think he's potential, actually, if the Chronicle stacks up there and they try and double swing. There's a world where he gets both of those.
I'm just not used to seeing Gambit in this kind of brawly style where they're having to meet them in this sort of aggressive manner. And I love the fact that XN are pushing Gambit to this, making them play outside of their usual stylistic approach.
And actually, the second part to that is actually how willing X10 are to kind of double down. Like they find an opener, and then there's 2 or 3 other points on the map where they're still pushing. On defense, by the way.
Yeah, just to clarify. And that's big info found. Nice little start there. But Foxy going to be happy with that, going to fall away. It's not going to be the entire picture, of course. We know Fracture by now. We've seen it a fair bit in this tournament, honestly. It has been doing the rounds. And Chronicle looking to be precise as he works his way forward. But it's the main pack over here that's trying to draw a great deal of attention, see if he can maybe capitalize on that timing if they do turn away. But it looks like they're going to fall away from this.
A couple of tools at Gambit's disposal as well. Showstopper, the orbital strike. See on the flip side. A couple of ultimates for X10 to throw in this round if they choose to. Drifting back towards bench here. And again, actually the weaker side of the setup from X10 just by a head count. Again, playing a little deeper now, and this is, again, switching up a little bit. They're just going to kind of play contact on site. These Sushi boys tucked up into tower. Again, almost kind of giving them entry at least here.
30 seconds left.
Oh, now that
forced out by the lockdown.
It's one of the brilliant things, I guess, of having Bremy boy. But a lot of utility invested into this now. They have to make the most of this one. You can already see that X10 are on the back foot slightly, but the hits still not come through. We're down to 14 seconds. They need to make this land. 10 seconds now. Redguard on the drive-by does well, but Scary lives up to that name, causing problems. 6 seconds now. It's only Patty alive, and I don't think he can really deny this. The spike goes down with 1 second to spare, and Gambit, that serene style, that diligent approach. Patty's considering it for merely a second. I wonder how long he lingers.
I think with the operator here, it's, again, there's no chance of him swapping out a weapon. Very difficult for him to find anything on the way back in. You can see him backing away now, but it's interesting there. Again, yes, it runs so late. We're used to seeing Gambit play that sort of round, but it's now where X10 show nothing. There's nobody kind of aggressively peeking in these angles towards arcade, you know, and nobody towards underpass, and that's where you give Gambit the time to set up. The orbital strike is all that's needed on the way in there.
Yep.
Comes down to a couple of other gunfights, but I'm almost kind of thinking, you know, X10 towards the back end of that round. There's no kind of fact finders out towards dish, nothing towards main, nothing to kind of confirm this lack of presence anywhere on the side of Gambit. And you let Gambit shift walk around the map for 90 seconds and it becomes a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it plays too nicely to Gambit's style. It gives them way too much. So I would like a little bit more of those fact finders, as you said. It's hard to say, though, because we know that also Gambit are great at holding those defaults, which normally does catch that. It is the kind of Sophie's choice of things. You can't, there's no easy way to do it, and that's the reason they're such a high-tier team. However, we dive back in. We have to now look at the purchase on either side. Pretty solid. Still enough for X10 to get a really nice buy behind it. Patty maintaining that operator, so he gets to bring it into this round. And already a clear lean towards this B site at the very beginning. Last time around, we did see that, but you wanted aggression towards Dish. We were already getting that too. I think Foxy has just gone walkabout, so they're already going to lean over that additional player. They've seen plenty of utility, and Sushi Boys is trying to keep this together. There's the swing, though. 2 players tucked by the box. This could be problems. He actually gets away unscathed, and the lean's coming in, and as is that flank.
Just going to send one out. It does find Scary. Trying to hide inside the smoke here. Lockdown invested as well. Will be dealt with straight away, so no threat to Gambit here. They're able to set up on site. But actually a nice swing out from Sushi Boys there, but Defo can find 2.
Yeah, Foxy's got to be careful. He was a little unaware. All that utility and no intention behind it at the end. That tower swing was great from Nats. And once again, Patty's put in this position. He was a little not hesitant to hit these rotations, but now they want to get that operator away. Good luck. Patty wants this. It's his baby. He's not going to give it up. But already you're seeing Gambit now starting to exude a little bit of that dominance, but he's still putting on a show. And the time. I mean, he switched up to the rifle. He's going for this one. And have a look where Nats is. Oh my. Hi, Pog, are you kidding me right now? Patty, you could do this already. The flash, he doesn't actually eat it that much. Oh my god, Patty can sit this. He can absolutely sit this. There's no time left. And I don't blame him, because Nats, if anything, was the one who wasn't there in time. But Patty could have done some more damage with that, and that has to be a wake-up call to Gambit. It ain't over till it's over, because that man almost just clutched out against them.
He really did, and that's the thing. Some of these players on X10, they're not afraid to kind of do the unexpected, right? Do the almost illogical in some sense.
As soon as he drops that op, I'm all aboard.
I mean, the only thing that changed there, if he sticks for the first half, that's around 2x10. Gambit got to keep that in check for sure. You see him just second-guessing himself a couple of times there, and
I can't blame him, though.
No, you really can't. Again, you expect there the flash comes through main. There's going to be a swing from tower.
Yeah, be tower wherever else.
But Nats was straight away for that. I think actually as the first op kill came in, he was straight to Dish. Then Defo kind of overpeaks a little bit on top of that wall.
Fine lines here. But hey, this is the level that you kind of have to start looking at with these players. The fact is that this happens in games that have been around for like 10 years, where every player's meant to know better. And again, it might be a little bit of a reminder, and it'll kick up the butt for Gambit. They're saying, all right, let's stay on track here. Let's make sure we do not drop any of this. Cross the T's, dot the I's, stay composed. Because I think everyone coming into this who's watched Gambit leading up to this point has looked at that group stage and probably not had as much faith in them.
I wasn't sold.
I think most of us were somewhat similar.
You look at some of the map losses back at Masters 3 and you think, actually, yeah, fair enough. But some of the losses here in terms of just dropping maps have looked shaky.
Yeah. So again, you kind of want Gambit to make sure they are really doing their due diligence, because you need to see that from them. And for X10, if they keep finding these little ways, these little moments to try and exploit it, to get around it, it could be something there. For now, though, we sit at 5-3. And Gambit's adjustment has been great, and they have finally got the money down.
Actually, again on the base from you here, popped off the rip. A little quicker, actually, an approach from Gambit here towards A main. Foxy and Sushi Boys. Nats
Look at this
trouble
pinch.
here.
Yeah, Nats is in a world of trouble. He's got players left, right, and center. Sees the shoulder, going to get one, but it's a trade out. And that's going to be a rifle now, pretty much up for grabs. And you know these boys will fight till the death. Shade or Slow catches the first glimpse. It wasn't as clean as he would have wanted. Going to have to fall away and respect that, but Defo still being pretty much the safe pair of hands. Really putting his foot down in this one, as we are down to Patty and Sushi Boys to try and make something of this, but going to drop out the weapon. Not as clean and as simple as Patty would have liked. A nice try, but Gambit maintain 4. Keep everything tickety-boo.
The next round, again, you look towards the ultimates here for Gambit. I think we're one away from the showstopper again. I'm not sure if it's the Roll of Thunder or the Orbital Strike, actually, on the horizon. Actually, yeah, 3 off the showstopper. So, again, this is still around again on the buy round here. There's not an awful lot behind this. And this is where it becomes difficult for X10 to maintain this level, I guess, of proactivity on the defense. But I'm looking towards Foxy here again,
yeah.
In terms of that, the cooldown and utility, making absolute use of it, because the only 2 fact finders they have really is Foxy and Sushi Boys, right? Everything else relies on pushing, finding out what the setup looks like.
And it looks real quiet. So instantly you have to be looking to the other side of the map. Both extremities, at least on the top side of the map, have now been pushed out on. You've got to be able to try and extrapolate the information from that, because Gambit now, I think, have kind of put it together themselves as they've sliced through the... What is this round going on? Defo going to lead the charge. Cruz actually could catch across. No way! Defo, so sharp on it. And he still does well. Foxy trying to do some damage, but it's all effective trades for Gambit, leaving Sushi Boys the last one alive. And a 1v3, Spike going to go down. And he ain't that close by.
Gambit just walked through sand, up ropes, walled off spawn, and hit B.
Yes, they did.
And X10 are like, oh, well, we all push bridge, so, okay. Really, really weird round to watch on the minimap there. But a quick response, I think, on the back of Nats finding a little bit of contact in underpass. Sushi Boys again, we don't can find any damage here, but at this point with the round deficit doesn't make an awful lot of difference, because it will be saving and Gambit should be sitting pretty comfortable. Chronicle will find it. Again, now we're starting to see Gambit get a little bit better in terms of, I guess, their understanding of X10 and where they're pushing. If they feel no contact somewhere, then they're probably going to have a window of opportunity to slip through in this all around here. I mean, you see straight away the response here after that first blood from Nats.
Not bad at all. Gambit now stringing together 5 rounds on the trot. And a nice little mid-call maybe off the back of that, as you said, Nats contact there. I like that. Just some nice, quick kind of fluid calling coming out from Gambit. Looks to sit with them well. And the proactive X10 still trying to make something happen from this, but I feel like Gambit really got a good notion of what's going on. Let's see how this kind of fares this time. A little bit of a switcheroo. At least they're going to be able to fall back here, not overcommit to that flank. And the other side of the pack for X10 should be able to clear, but you're right. Look at keep your eyes on it.
Site.
Yep.
Again, now that Tripwire being dealt with, Gambit are anticipating this push through underpass again, but I mean, there's a glaring hole in the defense here for X10. Gambit, unfortunately, on the back of being noted towards A hall, have drifted back this way. So Cruz himself at a pretty tricky spot here. He's got to go huge if he wants to stop this advance.
It's a lot of pressure on one man's shoulders, and he doesn't even know it's happening yet. He's got his back to the enemy, not a place to be. The footsteps are surely going to be heard. Patty might be able to get there in time. He is going to at least get one, but a quick trade out as Cruz does get to keep his life, try and sail on forward. But Nats is so happy to greet it with the adjustment on the third. Finding so much work for himself. Oh, the timing is nasty. 1 HP. You're lucky to be alive.
Comes down to a 2v2 though. Sushi Boys will fall, and just 1 HP in the dream for Foxy. An awful left. Yeah, okay. Well, he needed to find that one. He didn't. It's 8-3. And again, coming into the last round here. It's going to be pretty tricky for X10. Didn't actually keep note of any ultimates here. I think there was a couple, 1 or 2 away, but it's just... And again, you can see here the way Cruz has to play around Arcade. He's got to worry about tower. He's got to look back towards site. There's all of these points where X10 have no information on. And like I said, you allow Gambit to shift walk around the map for that long, they can be anywhere. And they will be.
Yeah. They've found what works. They found that sore spot and they're just pressing on it time and time again. Defo up to a quick beginning. Oh, it's brutality from Defo. Straight away in there, just rips the head off of Sushi Boys. Foxy's with a great flash. Oh my, Defo still takes him down. Feels like Gambit can't put a foot wrong. There's Patty, Cruz, and Scary still trying to find any success for themselves, and Nats waiting, poised, calm, collected, and unnoted. He knows what he's doing. He still gets one, and step by step, they just get worked away at.
I love that little attempt with the bait on that Sage wall coming up, but Spike is planted. Rolling Thunder available for Cruz. That's just him and Patty here on the way back in. Only 1 member on site again. Gambit adjusting on the back of that ultimate.
And there's the commit.
Stuff it, there's so much. There's a huge gap to close.
It really is, and it's going to be quite vast. Patty going to at least step towards it. Shados is there, Defo is there. Gambit looking to maybe reclaim a little bit of that inhuman capability that they have. Looking like they don't bleed blood, looking so refined in how they like to approach the game.
I mean, I've got to say, this is probably the most composed in terms of an attacking half we've probably seen out of Gambit here at Champions. Again, the biggest test would have been the test of that default, especially on a map like Fracture where there are so many pressure points, so many opportunities for these flanks. So you look towards Nats to be the one to kind of keep that in check, and Gambit adjust accordingly and find a really good grasp there.
They do, and I'm quite impressed by Gambit coming out and looking like this, because I think throughout the group stage we were a little bit hesitant on how they'd been running through this one. So again, for me, I think this is a good kind of confirmation of how they look. However, I want to see what the desk has to say about that first half.
Yeah, Gambit showing so much discipline, but you and I were talking about it during the game. It felt like the pushes and the defensive aggressions from X10 just sometimes fell down to luck.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like considering you have a KO in your team, it seemed like most of the time they had no idea where their opponents actually were. Like I wanted to see that knife come out a little bit more for information usage, and it seemed like a lot of X10 defensive side was purely based, as you said, on risk. Like let's just push somewhere, hope they're there. If they're not, then they didn't seem to have a plan then onwards of how they would then retake ground or even retake spots. It's just weird.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the X10 game plan this entire time on defenses. As the barriers go down, they either do a 4-1 push or throw utility and figure out what's going down. Gambit had a pretty simple response, but a response nonetheless. It was the 4-1s, right? Just leave Nats in the back line and have the trips up. And look, he's always good for one. He didn't have those breakout highlight acing every round type of games that we sometimes see out of the man himself, but he was always good for one. And that's the most important aspect of this, because eventually the defenses, they just start getting bogged down, right? Anytime they're trying to push, one of them gets taken out. A 1-for-1 trade is never in the advantages of the defenses.
I mean, it just feels like, you know, we hear about crews saying that they want to disrupt their opponent's game plan, but Potter, so far, Gambit are the ones that are just able to do what they wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, you even saw it in the round where it just coming down to the wire. Gambit once again using the clock as their best friend, right? I didn't think they would make it into that B site, but eventually it came through, right? The orbital strike towards that tower area, the breach ult to follow through right where the player would be kind of funneled into because of the orbital strike. So a lot of layers and good looks here for Gambit.
Yeah, I think as well, the thing that's a little bit of a shame is the rounds where X10 did get the rebright in the early rounds, they were really close. Like there were a few players left alive, there were opportunities there. I'm hoping that when it comes to their attacking side, we're going to see a little bit more of that KO.
Well, let's jump right back in with Pansy and Hypok.
Let's do it. 9-3 is the scoreline if you're just tuning in, and there's a reason they're Cinderella stories, they're fairy tales. When you start believing in these regions, you hope that maybe that success can continue out of the group stage with these deeper runs. But the Iron Giants of Gambit might have just awoken, but a good start for Sushi Boys could get them right back on track. Shados just a little too quick on the trigger, and it's a 1-for-1 trade out.
Big gap towards B right now, though, and you see straight away X10 going to capitalize on that. Redguard has to respect it for the time being. A little bit of pressure actually on the backside of B main here from Defo potentially, but the firing squad lined up. Shados and Nats looking to stop any further pushes.
Spike planted.
See here, Defo. Does he get hard cleared here?
I think the answer is quite resounding. It's a no. Defo gets away with it. Catches Cruz, and now going to work them down to 3, trying to keep their backs towards themselves safe. Oh, Defo, I thought he had another. This man has been just a safe pair of hands, and he's been succeeding in a lot of the fights. The wall going to try and facilitate the cross. That was a little dicey, but it's fine, as Gambit are looking in fine form and a little too thick to quit. Foxy is in trouble.
Try and find this here. Nope, Shados going to close it out. The defuse comes through. Gambit find their 10th. And again, it's interesting to see Gambit's willingness to kind of address A-Hall so quickly there. You see Redguard leans away from it. Defo's able to roam for 15, 20 seconds or so. And again, anticipating that B hit coming through. The setup, it's almost like X10 unable to kind of capitalize on that aggression because there's nobody on site. Gambit just played deep enough to mitigate all that risk.
Little force buy coming in. How do you feel about force buys?
I mean, this scenario, yeah. I get it again. It's SMGs.
Yep.
Mostly you're going to be up against. There's a Bulldog in the hands of Redguard, but
little armor difference. Defo just fed himself to the wolves. Flies on in a quick meal. Redguard though gonna have to try and back away. He's caught in no man's land, and yeah, this buy's actually caught them off a fair amount, caught in unpredictable positions and spots they didn't want, and the pace, they have to keep this up. You're right, the flank will come into effect eventually, but let's see if they get that spike down uncontested. For now, it does seem as though that's going to be the case, and Foxy's on the case. Shados, Chronicle, Nats, all going to start cresting that corner, outdone by 1, and now the 3v3.
Crew's going to have an opportunity to play inside the smoke and have a really good engagement here if anybody does take the rope, but looks like Gambit going to force their way through on ground level. The wall, actually, Investor's going to cut off generator here. Patty has to deal with that quickly, this flank.
If he can get the timing right, if Sushi Boys can keep the attention. Oh, he just slipped through. Shadows still alive, but only for so long. The Force Buy desperately trying to work out for them as it does convert with 3 standing. X10 give themselves a window of opportunity.
Like you said, Defo, like a lamb to the slaughter there again. Not necessarily a misread, I think just banking on the fact that there is no buy coming through. The fault line was fantastic, but with this many SMGs in close quarters staring him down, no real opportunity for him to capitalize on that. And now, see what they can do with this. They can build a little bit of a buffer here. Again, not many rounds to play with. Gambit on double digits, but see how far they can take this.
It has to be step by step. It has to be every single round on this turnaround. If they want it, Foxy is going to be the first to get truly tested, and that's not what you want. It has to commit. And he still gets away with 1, which is actually quite impressive. On the other side, the purchase for Gambit is a little here, there, and everywhere. Got about all the things from underneath the kitchen sink. You've got a Sheriff coming out, a Spectre, a Classic, odds and ends. Now the Spike Plant comes in, just adjusting for the utility to try and supplement and support. Patty going to watch that drop down in case anyone gets a little ahead of themselves, but it's not the case.
Yeah, want to see good damage control on the side of X10.
Dim beacon down.
To hold on to these weapons. Redguard looking as if he's just playing Exus here, but a couple of zipline rotations coming through. Potential to backstab A main here. I mean, Cruz has got to be careful. You see, he's potentially set up for a fault line, I guess, towards drop. Yeah, again, we just want to hold him. Actually, wisely enough, X10 exited elsewhere.
Does he catch anyone? Yeah, nice work from him to at least get 1. How much do they get away with? Gambit, careful now. Yeah, actually, very clean from X10. That's great. Ticking the box right there. This is the building blocks that could close the gap. But it has to keep happening. It can't be these one-offs. It can't be odds and ends. The buy is going to come out eventually for Gambit, and this is the one we need to pay attention to. This could be the big round, and it's not a perfect purchase either.
I think as well, we making the comparison to defense, it's much easier for X10 to maintain this pace on attack, right? And again, if they get a couple of, like you said, the building blocks, the foundations to find some pressure points, it's harder for Gambit on these buy rounds to play so aggressively. You know, things like the fault line set up for Defo. Wouldn't expect to see them every single time. Actually, Patty straight away, look at that.
Defo,
ruthless.
Just being the backbone right now of Gambit, catching a couple of these moments and really quelling that early aggression. And oh, Foxy, what? How are you so good at adjusting to that? He was in the middle of nowhere, he had no right, and neither does Shados. The flash couldn't have been better. The follow-up does not happen, though. And another bloody battle between these two as Redgar is chomping at the bit just around that corner. You know they know he's there, though. They're clearing this and they're thinking, feels like there could be someone on the case. There's that door open. Redgar says hello, and Nats finds Sushi Boys. It's going to be on Scary now, and he's got so much to get through. They jump in the corners. He knows he's pinned in. And Gambit get back on track. The rifles get upgraded, and they make it to 11.
Really, X10, one feasible round here in terms of the purchase. Again, we'll have to see actually what the knock-on effect of that bonus round was. Let's see, actually. Ultimates online as well, but Patty just so desperate to find that first blood. But hats off to Foxy, like you said, actually just comes through here as soon as they feel that pressure towards Hall. Foxy knows that there's probably going to be an opening there for him to find it. It's actually not as bad. Actually, on the side of X10, it's only one Spectre, and like I said, a couple of ultimates online.
Now, I do want to open this up to the bigger picture, though, because I think the death started quite well, that when we look at this map pool, there's potential for X10, absolutely. I think even if you looked at like the Envy map pool, you'd still probably put it with them, and obviously X10 outdid them, but let's kind of call it what it is. Fracture was quite a big win condition here, I think. There was at least a big opportunity.
Absolutely.
And now we're starting to lean towards this being closed out potentially by Gambit. They've got a nice buffer right back on this. They should be able to build, keep that money away from X10, which now becomes an issue purely with the amount of rounds left.
Yeah, and I think as well in terms of the mental, I don't think X10 are probably a team that are going to be knocked by a big defeat here on Fracture. Again, they come back in blank canvas, really map by map, and we saw that particularly in the MV series. I think was a really good example of that. But you got to say it's. I don't want to say it's pinned on this one map. There's still a chance.
There's always a chance.
Tom was leaning a little heavier in favor One Direction, but
he likes One Direction.
He does. Huge Harry Styles fan, actually.
Yeah. He's got the posters.
Never stops talking about it.
No. It must be upsetting with his lack of hair. He always wanted that. Main, speak. Oh, Defo's right back to business.
What?
He got the dink. He thought he'd done it. Cruises on 7 HP. Well, I guess they get another bite of the cherry, and Gambit. What is going on in this round? What is happening right now?
Now Foxy, he's got to hold on to underpass here. Redgar will be able to escape, but the res comes through, nullifying that kill that X10 did find. Cosmic Divide goes up. We've got everything thrown into this round.
It's going to be 12 otherwise. It's got to be now, or it might just be never. Scary going to try and clear a little bit of safety for himself, give himself a bit of area to play in amongst. And where are they off to? I'm looking at that zip wire. This actually could be insane if this works out.
No
Foxy,
way.
what have you got up your sleeve? Is that a rifle down as well? That could be a nice upgrade, because he's only got the Spectre right now. And this could be huge for him. He decides not to do it. He's seen everything. We've seen this before. Glimpses of the past. Remember the Fnatic game. Can he do what he needs to? That's one down. He can clear, he can confirm. He knows where these players are. Brilliant information now relayed. The gap going to close in, and time being bought here. They have nothing in this one. Scary is there. Shadows. Wait, what is going on? He needs to get the diffuser down, as he does. And X10 give themselves another round. That flank by Foxy's was fantastic.
Beautiful stuff, but everything thrown into that round will make it very difficult. Again, only one survives coming out of that, and we know already with the one Spectre purchase there, potential to see a knock-on effect there in terms of the finances, but again, Gambit play that around the res perfectly. They can be aggressive here. You know, that potentially they can find a player or two on the extremity plate. It is. That was the one I was talking about the other day.
Yeah, I see it now.
It's not cheap.
No, I can imagine it's not. So let's talk about what this has done knock-on wise, because it's taken the money away from Gambit now. Swings and roundabouts between these two. He wants to post this, and it might be the right destination. Right to the pocket of Scary, and that's now, I think, a rifle down if it can be recovered. Sushi Boys is just praying for timing, praying for it to be right. He only gets one. Quick trade for Nats, though. And now the advantage in numbers at least sits with Gambit. 2 rifles now on the deck as well. Foxy, oh no way! He couldn't even turn around in time. Redgar gets the freest kill of his life. And now Patty and Cruz put in a bad spot here. Can they make anything out of this one?
Actually 3 rifles in the hands of Gambit here, so...
Last player standing.
Shados, man, deletes Patty.
Wow.
There's just Cruz left.
And I don't think he's loving this one. Absolutely not. All that utility being poured in. So many obstacles in the way. Do what you can. Can he deny it, at least for now? This is good for Cruz. He's giving himself some time. The flag! Oh my word, Cruz! It's game back on! Maybe, just maybe, there's still some life in it. The time is there! And by the absolute tiniest of margins, X10 carry on.
I mean, these aren't comfortable. Again, you talk about repeatable successes here.
Oh, we're not
these
even...
are coming down right to the wire.
Absolutely not. A 1v3 post-blind like that. You had all the utility poured in, these sort of freebies coming out for Gambit. Yeah, okay, just do that time and time again. Look at this work coming out. Cruz, though. What an absolute man made of ice right now. So calm in that. Oh, there it is. That's the calmness. There it is. That's the composure right there.
Again, actually, yeah, looking a little, I don't want to say frustrated, but almost wanting to close this out.
They do look a
couple of rounds ago, right? It would have been the expectation with that first half. So here again, X10, so many bodies behind. It's only Sushi Boys elsewhere. And Gambit this time playing a little deeper, respecting this almost. Fox is ready to enable Patty here. You can see inside on the X-ray. If anything gets detected there, but Patty straight onto site here. Shados will find the opener though, traded out. Chronicle finds 2.
Down B.
Yeah, this is looking like 12 is now beckoning. Scary in a 1v4. Gonna get one, are you gonna prove me wrong again? Surely not. Scary, just how much more can you do? Smoke goes in, and he edges closer. Redgar is on the other side, but timing is everything. He has to back away. The steps get noted. Yeah. It looks like Defo is very much watching this, adamant that he will not let go of that. Picks up the spike, and now they know he's got to be there. Surely they've seen that vanish. Yeah, they have now. Those shots are going to confirm it. 25 seconds. Can he get around towards that A side? Is he going to go for it, or does he try and double pump? Let's see what you got, Scary.
I'm looking at the minimap here. Defo hasn't confirmed the spike being taken here.
Surely.
And again, Gambit can wait. It's a 3v1.
I'd rather than play safety
that should
on,
lean
10 seconds left.
in their favor. Again, they can wait out the spike plant.
But he can get into a dirty little post plant,
yes.
right? Like he's got
Spike
so much
planted.
time to play with. He doesn't necessarily know that, so I wonder how far he explores. But he has plenty of time to try and do something, but they're staying as a pack. All three players together. Scary on the other side of this corner. Here's one, takes one, and tries to back away. They're going to try and close the gap, though. They want to get as close as they can to the Scary on the swing. He gave it everything he had. 3 kills, but Redgar prevails, and it'll be 12 on the board for Gambit. You can't say that X10 aren't trying.
And again, one comes down to just one left standing in this round. And again, Scary plays that perfectly. He has to look for a kill. He has to kind of stop them before they can make use of this head count. Or the man advantage, I should say. And Chronicle, though, just beautiful hold by him.
God tier from him there. Very sharp. Timeout.
Again, I think now with these being so scrappy back and forth, yes, there's a little bit of a loss bonus, but the economy's got to be struggling on the side of X10. And then you think back to that round where everything's invested just to get one more on the board.
But it's tricky, right? Because we just had 2 rounds where one actually worked out. It was a 1v3 and he pulls it off. And that was another situation very similar to that. And it was down to a 1v1. It was as close as you could get. He did everything right. I don't think you can really question how hard he had to fight in that one, and it almost worked out. I don't think anyone can say they are not giving it literally everything. Like, bear in mind that round had Chronicle pick 3 up on that side push. That was that normally the percentage chance of them then turning that around is wild, but 7-12 is not highlighting how close some of these rounds have been between these two.
No, that's actually on the flip side of that, Gambit. A credit to them. They withstand a barrage of utility after X10 creep closer and closer inside those smokes you saw in the previous round.
That is not looking healthy.
Odds and ends. Pots and pans, as Sean would say.
Not sure what that means.
I think everything but the kitchen sink, pots and pans.
Is that what you got in your kitchen?
Don't do much cooking, so.
Back in we go. 12-7. Gambit do now have map point in the pocket. Now they just need to get across the line. Defo, can he keep that composure that has resonated so well with him? Look at everything being poured at this man, and he still stands.
Oh,
he refuses to relent. Defo standing up to the test this time. Finding that balance. He's been over-aggressive, and this time it's looked just right. But these boys have clutched out so many times before, so I feel like I can't say it yet until the final man falls. It's down to Scary again. A 1v4 presented and only a Spectre by the side. And sadly, it looks like it's done for. He gets put to the grave, and 13-7 for Gambit comes across the line. That, however, was a very close game in some of these rounds. Gambit, though, had a couple of individuals really find their form. I've got to say it, Defo to me initially, safe pair of hands. Second half, excelled.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, in this, he's kind of switching off the jet. He has to still maintain that level of pressure, or I guess control in these opening engagements. And he did just that. Redgar with some great enablers, great setups for him. But again, Patty, man. He gave it everything in that first half. Again, there was a big gap on the scoreboard just because how much X10 were trying to build around him, how many times he was the last alive, still keeping X10 in some of these rounds. Now, I think we think back to some of the discussions before this map started. You think about how actually, stylistically, this is a very difficult matchup for Gambit. And again, you think regionally, some of the teams they're tested by, it's actually a good look to see Gambit pile on the pressure and meet a team toe-to-toe.
And that's something I hope the desk will expand on, is kind of the stylistic expectation of Gambit and where the downfall can be, and somehow like maybe X10 can actually exploit that a bit, push them to play out of their comfort zone potentially, And you're right, they did actually find this. And this was, again, one of those moments where they almost clutched this out. Like, how many of these rounds were so close? And what a wake-up call for Gambit. They have to now stay sharp in this. You give that a little bit of weakness, you know that vulnerability will be found by X10. But again, it was way. And now we have to look towards the rest of the map pool, which I think if most people aren't, you know, huffing the copium, it does now swing towards Gambit's favor.
It does, yeah. Again, whether or not X10 are going to be able to pull something out of the bag, how much is, I don't want to say, steam is left in the engine, so to say, but it's tough now to look at the rest of this veto and not lean in Gambit's favor, I think.
Yeah, I'm a little saddened it wasn't closer in rounds. Yeah, I feel like there was a bit of fire coming in for X10 there, but it was quelled eventually by Gambit. However, 2 more maps potentially. It could go all through. We'll have to see what X10 have, or it could be the 2-0 for Gambit. We're going to head to a break, and when we're back, the desk will talk you through it all.
X10, they threw a curveball in the map vetoes, but in the end, it wasn't a problem at all for Gambit. I'm back on the desk with Potter and Tom. Some flashes of brilliance there from X10, but wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't enough, and unfortunately so, right? Some fantastic ideas coming up for X10, but it seemed like each step of the way, I mean, let's just think about that last round. Defo getting breach stunned right at that box, right underneath the tower. How is he not dead? How does he get away with 3 kills after that sort of encounter? So that's sort of a curveball, as we've been saying and putting, coming out from individual reactions. Those are superstar moments, and I'm glad it was Defo that was in that highlight.
Yeah, I think as well, if I'm looking at this map in general for X10, I don't think it's one that they should be playing too much anyway. Like, at least for now. I think they've got a lot of work to do, because compositionally, I don't think it looked great. Like, I don't think the KO really had any impact that I can think of. Maybe a decent pop flash every once in a while, and you can sort of see that on the scoreboard at the moment, that it did kind of come down to those duelists. But if I look down the sort of players on Gambit, I can say, Nats, he definitely had impact. Like, I'm talking about those lurks, using his utility for information. Chronicle had a damn good good game. And although I won't say that all of that just came down to Brimstone, I don't think that was the biggest thing. But I kind of wanted to highlight Shados a little bit, because I feel like a lot of these Sage walls that he was using actually became like sort of pinnacle points in the round. Like you saw the deep one that we saw regularly towards Generator, where you look at those retakes, like the one where Paddy Pan's like finding a lot of kills. It made all of those fights really awkward for him to take, because he then has to use the time to get back into the site. And we saw those on most of the takes from Gambit, where they put them down and it just wastes a hell of a lot of time. And you think about how many rounds came down to a couple of seconds or just a few moments. I think it actually made a pretty big difference. So I would actually like to see X10 either like work on this composition or rework it completely and come back in different.
Yeah, and those few seconds that you're talking about that it came down to, how many 1v1s did we have in that first half? I believe we had at least 3 of them, right? And then the Cruise clutch 1 versus 3 with that breach utility.
Foxy flank.
Yeah, it's just used to perfection. Foxy flank, yeah. So again, moments of brilliance for X10 coming through, but just that extra layer, that little extra oomph coming out to get some rounds on the board, to have a little bit of momentum going into the second. It seems like that's what these guys are missing.
I mean, Gambit, we know they're super unforgiving. You can't make mistakes around this team. They'll just punish you hard. We spoke about Defo already, but I do want to take a look at the comparison with Patty as well, because Patty had a lot of impact. At one point, he was 13-4, and he's been one of the more consistent players too, just in general, possibly in this tournament.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And a little more quiet, I think, coming out, but definitely not quiet in the server, right? He's just so carefree, it seems like. And of course, it helps that he's on the jet, but I love seeing that no fear style coming out from Patty. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to convert some of those rounds that he found those openings on, but yeah, defo diff, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't even really play Raze. I think that's one of the things I want to highlight with Defo, is that he has been almost the most through and through jet that we kind of have in EMEA. He has played it in the past.
I think one time is all I remember.
Yeah, it's been like a long time, and we haven't seen it consistently. So the fact that he's come in on this map, 330 ACS, didn't really look like he was uncomfortable at all. I saw a few tweets here and there like he's been working on his satchels, and that's a big thing for them, because that's always something I've worried on other maps, for example, like a Split, where I feel like that Raze is so much more valuable. If he can bring that in elsewhere, hey, that's a pretty big agent to have under your belt.
I mean, we had a lot of pretty accurate shooters, aimers on that map. Let's take a look at Shooter Boy, Sushi Boy in the aim lab. Shoot around. Okay, this is a different look. But is he trying to bait us into something?
No, surely he's warming up, because he's gonna bust out the jet on Ascent.
Yeah, because like why else would he be doing this?
You know what? Maybe he's just warming up his entire mouse pad. You know, he's gotta use the entire thing to be able to warm up in this manner. But yeah, I mean, maybe that might be the exact curveball that X10 need. I mean, their Ascent, their defenses, they looked good. It's just that, again, a little bit telegraphed. So hopefully with maybe Sushi Boy on the jet instead this time, that might be the difference.
If Cruz has gone into that interview and said, yeah, we don't really play double duelist, and then throws out a double duelist, I'm leaving. Like, I'm just saying that. I even said it after that interview, like, he's someone I do not trust when it comes to those interviews. So if they come up with a double duelist now, I'm going to be frustrated.
We have been burned before, and they are aware that, you know, we have the aim lab shoot around. So I feel like if it's any team that's going to troll us a little bit, maybe Sushi Boys is the troll here. But you guys have mentioned Ascent already. Let's talk about this next map. Here's a fun stat. Let me whip out my fun stat of the day. Both teams have only ever lost this map 5 times. Only ever.
That is quite interesting.
Yep, and for Gambit, it's 5 out of 51. And for X10, it's 5 out of 30, which is still a tremendous stat.
Yeah, it's good, but you then also have to lean into regions as well. Like a Gambit in such a tough region, obviously, everybody knows that now. But yeah, I think that their Ascent, especially the defensive side, has always been phenomenal. One that's incredibly tough to break, and that was actually the strength we sort of mentioned it in the pre-show. That was the strength as well. For the side of X10, is their defensive side was good, their attack was a little bit shaky.
Yeah, a little bit shaky. And, you know, the casters, Hypoc and Pansy, they were wondering what the game plan for X10 was going to be as they stared me down from across the room. But X10, their defense is, as you mentioned, Tom, it's weird, right? Because it seems like for Gambit, they're going to be able to react appropriately. Anytime that X10 try to push that B main like we know that they will, Gambit, surely they just beeline it straight up cat into tree room.
Well, as you guys can see from the Prime Gaming agent select, we got straight up jabaited by Sushi Boy.
Yeah,
he's not going to be playing on the Jet, but also Nats, you spoke about before. Nats has only played Viper so far in this tournament. In this series, he's only playing Cypher.
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan. I think everybody in the world is the biggest fan of his Cypher, and I think especially on his A-site defense of this map, you're not getting in. Like that's why their defense is so good. They can just leave A completely alone to him. He won't die, and he'll take 2 kills with him every single time. The main thing I want people to focus on, though, for X10 is their mid-hold. They had 3 dynamic changes to their mid-hold when they were playing this map previously, all surrounding Paddy Pan, but all in completely different ways, be it with bait setups, with pop flashes coming out from KO, be it with a Cypher cam, peeking down mid, and then having a cage for Paddy Pan to exit when he aggressively peek cat. They have so many niche little ideas, and I want to see how many of them Gambit are actually ready for.
Yeah, and it looks like Sushi Boy was trolling us.
Yeah.
He's not going to be locking in that Jet, but hey, his Cypher, if it's even half as good as his Killjoy has been throughout this tournament, then, shoot, X10 should have some bolstered defenses. I am wondering what kind of looks they can have with just the 2 KO flashes. I think the distance on that is kind of tricky. It'll be interesting to see how they utilize it, because the setups you're talking about, Tom, in my mind, I'm envisioning that sky with those cages.
Yeah, no, it definitely, like, the way that they were doing the flashes was basically just like bait and switches, but we'll see how it works, because then they lost the rest of the map. Their mid-hold was great, the rest was a little bit more shaky, and MV capitalized on it.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on X10. They have to win here if they want to stay in this tournament. Over to your casters, Pansy and Hypok.
Time to deliver for X10, and they are walking into one of Gambit's strongholds as well. This is a very tough spot to put yourself in such pressure, but they have risen to the occasion in the past. They have beaten teams fabled to go the distance, and, well, they have to do it now. They were looking super clutch before, but look, the desk was saying it a little bit about Nats on here, a bit of a specialist. I don't disagree. So it's going to be tough, but hey, they've made it this far. They're in the quarterfinals here at Champions. You don't get easy opponents. That's as simple as it is. So let's dive into things that we already see. Of course, Gambit on the attacking side and X10 on the defending side.
Actually, quick piece up towards middle here, and actually potential for scary to full cruise will at the same time.
Look at this crunch.
Gambit not messing around at all, but Sushi Boy runs 2.
Oh, if only he got that third, that could have been really quite something. But it is down to the 2v2. Patty up against Foxy, and, well, make it just Foxy. Timing's not terrible on this. He's a little ahead of maybe expected time.
He might even find this kill.
He does actually. Okay, gateway open. Can he find Defo though? Defo has been filthy in map 1, and he's looking to get a little dirty here. I don't think Foxy saw the tip of that pistol then. Oh, this timing is just unbearable to work around. Foxy just trying to work it. Oh no, Foxy, what? Okay, I guess that's one way to do it. Foxy, you're a madman. Yeah, just enjoy that for a second. Defuse is all yours.
That's so tough as well. Def has to smoke himself off to avoid the recon bolt. Then there's a shock dart that comes through. At that point, he has to commit to holding one or the other, right?
They're one of the most clutch sides, man. I swear. It's like they don't know when they're done.
Beautifully done there by Foxy, but against Sushi Boy, it's finding 2 crucial kills to almost slow this down a little bit. Or at least even things up just a little ahead of this spike plant coming through. Foxy actually.
That ping.
Really, really well played. Like I said, some tough decisions for Defo to make in that 1v1, unfortunately. Leads to his demise.
Right here.
Again, another quick piece, a similar setup actually initially from Gambit, and they're straight up mid once again.
If you're going to tell me Gambit going fast straight up the guts, they're not backing away, they're not playing their passive approach they normally have. They are absolutely trying to just tear into this. Now, keep in mind, this is Frenzies and Classics and maybe a Ghost or 2 for good measure, so it shouldn't account to too much.
Spike down B.
Foxy should be able to clean up the last as he does. 2 remain, though. That's good damage.
I mean, Gambit have drawn blood in that round. Force out a couple of purchases on the side of Gambit. Sorry, on X10. See actually what the knock-on effect is there. See a little swap around of pistols. Looks like Crew's just going to roll through with a Ghost Patty or a Sheriff. See what Sushi Boys settles for. But again, a much quicker look there from Gambit. Again, I think maybe just dismissing that round, almost want to get it out of the way, see what they can achieve, and probably more than expected, to be honest with you.
They caught a glimpse then. Patty and Scary, this is a mid-crunch. You can see a lot of utility now being put towards this. Foxy playing towards a similar side, sprays in wildly, but look who's going to try and chase this down. It's Patty with a bouncer! Catches Chronicle on the top side of mid, and now there's 4 alive, and look at this play coming out from him. He's still going to just keep going. That's going to be, I think, a rifle picked up as well. That's not bad at all. Good little upgrade for him. Foxy with the right timing, predicting it well, sprays in again, hoping for something to happen, and it just doesn't. Defo quiets him quickly, and the site is theirs.
Yeah, actually, the early information that X10 should have had a good understanding of.
Spike planted.
Still left Foxy the last to hold down again with this purchase and a couple of pistols and whatnot dragged through. X10 just looking to keep it honest, I say. See already Patty and Cruz setting up to play for some exits here. Actually, got to be careful here because Scary, I think, going to try and hold them here if they do opt to exit through spawn. Flasher actually doesn't catch Scary, so Diligent here with the utility, uses the cage there just to negate any of that pressure, and actually Gambit will have a pocket to play inside of because of the spike plant and the position. It's actually Patty that falls chomping at the bit to try and get in there and find an exit.
Do they keep all of them? Yeah. Good stuff from Gambit. Nice to see. And I do want to highlight this again. I have to kind of go back and look at these first couple of rounds. Now, this is a little bit more towards a tradition of what we'd expect from Gambit. But coming in today, I was, you know, in the thesaurus, piling through, looking for patience, looking for how they're going to approach this. And the pace change is pretty notable here. Now, be it just because of its X10 or however you want to look at it, this is a different look to Gambit. So I want to see if this continues or if this is merely how they wanted to play out a couple of rounds.
I think in rounds like that as well, on X10 side, it's almost going to feel like we roll the dice, we spin the wheel, we push somewhere and Gambit aren't there, then they have a real opportunity to create a weak point. Their defense again, though, look at this. That's straight down towards bottom mid here. Pressure on the side, but again, it's only one member really holding on to A site here, and that's Sushi Boys inside tree. They'll set up a little utility from, that's not where that was meant to go.
Take flight.
This is interesting. Again, now we see them swing back over after this initial exchange of...
And I mean, the thing that's just scared me, though, is that Foxy just got that kill on Redguard, who was literally sat to catch that. They're doubling down on this too. There's a lean back over. I'm looking at this because this is where the spike is. Yeah. If there's going to be another pick of a frag there, that could be a completely different look, even with that intention shown towards A. It could account to absolutely nothing. This could all be a bit of a bait to try and draw the attention back here, like, hey, ignore that maybe you saw a player and hopefully not the spike. But Foxy isn't falling away from this. He's still just kind of jiggle peeking that corner, trying to get that information. There it is.
30 seconds left.
Confirmation too, even goes for a second. That's pretty bold. He does have support there, and wait, he takes the fight too. Man is feeling a little frisky today. And the 4v3 favorable towards X10 Cruz. Again, these boys are brave to be peeking out like this. He's on an island, and now let's see if Nats can catch that flank. Gonna try and dice up middle, get around the back of them as the site is now under control. Nats can call this out. He knows two players are gonna be coming down this way. Surely he saw them, but Sushi Boys just puts himself on the line. There's Nats making his appearance. He knows there's one more. He's 100% assured. He's just gonna sit this down. He finally gets off it. Nats drawn in, has to now pay attention, gets one turns. Where is Patty? Trying to bring that ult in. Patty just swings it out, and Nats will greet it with a smile.
The Red Bull clutch from Nats. Again, Patty a little disconnected there. Scary actually gets the half through, which is the right decision there, but unfortunately not able to buy enough time. And again, just that Fox early swing out from B main there. That's in rounds where we know Gambit are going to kind of sit a little deeper, spread a little thinner on their default. That's where you look towards both Cruz and Foxy to make use of things like the 0 point, the recon bolt, and kind of double down on that information, right?
Yeah.
You know, Gambit in these slower rounds just look for map control. They look for a weakness somewhere. See, pop the Blade Storm. That's actually Chronicle catching it. Wallbang actually through the top box there. Patty fearless still in some of these rounds, Lauren.
You can't slow him down. The amount of faith he has in himself. Oh, you can see as to why. Patty with perfect connection. Sushi Boy's on the other side. Got Scary by his side as well. They know that mid's control. He tries to turn and just chase down the jet. He's done it. Sushi Boy's great work there. Now the ult's going to be an issue. He can't get away from it. Chronicle going to do well in this regard. But it's into a 3v2, but the purchase, look what remains. Yes, Patty got the upgrade, but the others two are a little less than ideal. A Sheriff and a Marshal. This ain't the Old West. Chronicle going to catch the cross. He's going to be fine now. Door gets shut, and in the post plant we go. Seekers, I think, just got invested. They did, and it does give away where Patty is. Shados deals with it well, and we're down to 1. This is the gambit that is hard to break through, but Foxy, he finds a step. Wait.
No way.
Foxy? They're just doing the dance on the site. This is madness. Foxy needs to keep composed here. Chronicle's just trying to play the time. Play and roll the dice!
Foxy.
And Foxy's outdone him!
The absolute gall on this man to pull the owl drone in that scenario, commit to the tag. Absolute. I got really worried the first time we pulled it out. Really, really worried. But the reposition there actually favored him. It gave him just a little opportunity to find that.
I have to say, there is something about watching X10 that they play sometimes the lowest odd percentage, it looks like, and they win it out. Like, I don't know how to explain. Look at this. He comes in with a Sheriff. I'm like, all right, fair enough. And then gets away with this, gets the tag off it, and just closes down perfectly. 20 HP conversion there from them. And again, on the other side of things, I feel like Gambit, you're a safe team to look at, right? They win the rounds they're meant to, quote unquote, if you can really kind of work through that. But this is such an interesting matchup, 3-2 scoreline. And this puts it right back into Gambit's court saying, okay, well, look, we've dealt with you now. What else do you have for us?
And the same questions arise. I think in my mind, it's can X10 keep up this level of pressure, particularly in the early round. Obviously, Patty, a key component in that regard. Much slower on both sides, actually, here. Nats drift into a similar position as the previous. Defo now. And again, Foxy, again, once there's no real pressure here through B main. X10 are always curious to explore.
And hey, I like it on at least one side of the map, right? Like, I feel like as Gambit have kind of demonstrated they really do want that mid control as kind of a high priority. I do not mind the extremities being something that then gets answered back by X10. Keep some of the map in your favor. For now, it's a look towards short, but they hit the brakes. 3-2 split potentially towards A. I want to see if they can land this. There's still obviously that player on the site, and I'm looking at potentially Patty going walkabouts in middle. No, he's going to tuck himself towards market. Has to stay patient now.
30 seconds left.
Again, just dealing with the spy cam has drawn an extra body on the side of X10 towards A site, so the heavier of the setup here, the Skyflash probably going to confirm things here. Cosmic Divide will go up. Shados will open things up here onto site.
Yeah, Scary, caught in the side of the head. Nats is going to fall to it, but it's Patty just making a show out of this one. Again, against the odds. I don't know how they do this time and time again. And Shados put to work as Defo waits to see if anyone dares come out, but it's all about the timing, and it ticks on over.
And again, just one kill. Clean up. One kill changes that, and it's the spike being dropped in the open there. Patty, again, the only one not to rotate. I think actually Foxy still beats him towards Garden and all the way back towards Heaven, but Patty, again, they feel a lack of presence on the side of Gambit, and that kill there on Redguard. At that stage of the round, it's devastating to Gambit. And again, they have to wait for the Cosmic Divide as well at that point. X10 don't even need to beat. You can see Patty demonstrating great discipline there, not giving away another kill.
Get out of my way. And you know, again, Defo trying to be the game changer here. Going to try and lean on him very quickly towards market. No one around this time, but it's Sushi Boys waiting on the other side of this. Just going to spray in, gets one. Noting Shados, and this is comfortable. This is lovely stuff. 4 alive. And it's everything that X10 need, and they are starting to really carve a lead into this game.
Again here, looking for Gambit, maybe an adaptation here at least. Again, mid's not working for them. X10 are leaning so far away from it. And again, countering that kind of lack of presence by, like you said, focusing on extremities, right? Finding potentially, you know, Redgar or Defo, who's played pretty deep towards B lobby as well. Again, same default here from Gambit. You can see the spike just sitting outside B lobby. They'll explore mid a little bit. We'll have to see.
Look at the difference.
This time he had to push though through A main. Look